Oh my god, I can't believe this. They actually sent Nia Jax back down to NXT. And I know it's not for any bad reason, it's for a feud with Lash Legend. But I mean, come on. Some part of the IWC is going to have a genuine field day with this. Now, if you want to know what happened, Lash Legend was having a match with Fallon Henley, and while Lash Legend was in control outside of the ring, Nia Jax made an appearance and attacked her, which helped Fallon Henley pick up the victory. Now, the reason Nia Jax attacked Lash Legend was because of some fallout from Evolution, I believe. So like I mentioned, Fallon Henley picks up the victory, and Nia Jax keeps attacking Lash Legend after the match and hits her with an Annihilator. And in all honesty, I think this could be a pretty good feud. Like, all jokes aside, I think this could be a really good showing for Lash Legend. And even for Nia Jax, I know it's not gonna happen, but I can kind of see her fitting in with Fatal Influence. Like, I don't know what it is, but it feels like she would slot in really nicely as like a fourth member or an honorary member. But since we're on the topic of Fatal Influence, we can go to Jasmine Nix's match, because each member of Fatal Influence was trying to defend JC Jane's honor against people who are after a championship. Fallon Henley managed to defeat Lash Legend like we just discussed, but Jasmine Nix failed to pick up the victory over Jada Parker. Later the night, when the Fatal Influence is outside in the parking lot, both members kind of scold Jasmine Nix. So I'd be down to see like a Jasmine Nix face turn, because she's the least interesting member of Fatal Influence. But on the other hand, I love what we're doing with the NXT Women's Championship. I mean, JC Jane has had an incredible run. I think all the matches has been good, all the challengers have been very interesting. Her entire reign has been the best one I feel like we've had in ages. Like, it was better than Stephanie Baker's, Julia's, Roxanne Perez, arguably, Lyra Valkyria, maybe. But besides them, I think this is the best reign we've had. And the fact that we don't know who's going to take that belt from her, like, it could be Jada Parker. I'm vying for it to be Jada Parker. But it could also be Blake Monroe, and it could also be Jordan Grace, and it could also maybe be somebody completely out of left field. So I really don't know, and I really like that, because it feels like, okay, if Jada Parker loses, then there's somebody else that could win it. But, you know, there's a chance that Jada Parker might win, so I really don't know, and it's really interesting to me. But let's talk about the rest of the show. Javon Evans comes down to the ring, and it says last week Undertaker gave him some great advice and told him to go after the biggest dog in the yard. He says he's alone in the ring now, so he's gonna call out the biggest dog in the yard. And that's when Trick Williams comes out and says he's the biggest dog in this yard. But Javon's like, nah bro, I didn't call you out, I was gonna call out Obafemi. Trick is feeling mad disrespected, and that's when the High Rise come out and try to defend his honor. Wesley says he's gonna have a nice little path to the NXT championship, but there's no way he's gonna go through Trick Williams. Javon realizes he's in a ring with 4 guys that are totally gonna attack him, so he's like, I'm gonna go out swinging, and he swings at Wesley, but he basically gets overpowered and he gets the cardiac kick. And then Wesley says he's gonna set up a match for later tonight. And since we're on the match, it was an absolute banger of a match, man. I really loved it. Anytime Javon Evans is on my screen, NXT is just so much better. And even all the segments he had tonight before he went to the ring, he's really the main character of NXT, and I love that for him. He's probably, besides Obafemi, the top men's prospect in NXT for me now. Sorry Trick, you're not top 2 anymore. Javon Evans picks up the victory though, while Trick Williams is on commentary. After the match, he gets on the top rope and stares down Trick Williams, but that's when Obafemi comes out and he holds the belt up too. And here's where I'm really confused, as what exactly is the plan here, because I would like to see Trick Williams versus Obafemi in a title versus title match, because I really like both these guys. I think there could be an interesting story there. I would also like to see Javon Evans challenge either of them for the belts. And I do not want to see a triple threat match. We've already been there, done that. Don't want that again. So what is the exact idea? Because obviously somebody from TNA needs to take the TNA belt off of Trick Williams. It's not going to be Javon Evans. Are we really going to have Javon Evans chase the TNA championship now? I just don't see that happening, and I don't see any benefits from it. So what exactly is our plan going with Javon Evans right now? Let's talk about a few backstage segments. Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors, so we're just gonna call them JCU because that's who they are backstage talking about how if they take out the tag team champs, they get a shot at the tag team championships. So they are preparing to barge into the locker rooms and just attack Hank and Tank with chairs. They were a bit nervous at first, but eventually they barge in and then they threaten Hank and Tank, and everybody is confused. And Hank and Tank are just like, dude, you don't have to attack us, you can just ask for a match and we'll give it to you. And then Uriah and Kale are like, oh cool. And then they say, Mr. Chase told us if we do this we'd get a shot. Andre Chase walks in then and says, that's absolutely not what I said. I really liked this. It was a tiny bit of comedic something, but it set up a match nicely, and it's actually a great character work that I'm really liking. I like Chase use frat bro stuff. I mean, I've kind of been bored with them recently, but if this is where we're going with them, I'm totally fine with this. And the fact that we're kind of building a tag team division still, totally happy with that. I'm excited for his match next week. Tatum Paxley is also backstage, and she thanks Izzy Dame for her help last week in pinning Zara, and she thinks her next step is a North American Championship match against Sol Ruka. Now, Izzy Dame is kinda weary of this. She's totally not buying this, saying you didn't pin Sol Ruka, and you really shouldn't get a shot. Kinda trying to weave her away from that, but then Sean Spears and the other guy, forgot his name, goddamn, they come up and they say they talk to Ava. She's having a North American Championship match next week, and Izzy Dame's like, yeah, I'm happy for you, but she's very clearly not. I think this is the perfect time to put the belt on Tatum Paxley. The perfect story is there of Izzy Dame becoming so jealous of Tatum Paxley coming into the group and finding all the success that should have been hers. There's just a perfect story there, right? And it's about time to finally give Tatum Paxley a belt. As much as I like Sol Ruka, Reign has been pretty cool, but you know, it's probably time to give the belt to someone else, and I think Sol Ruka is going to be absolutely fine. Now, Tatum Paxley is very happy with everybody. She's thanking everybody. She's happy she's found her new family. But as the culling walk away, Luca Crucifino comes in frame and he says no family lasts forever. So I'm curious as to where that's going. But something I really liked in tonight's stuff is the overarching theme of family not being forever, like I mentioned with Luca Crucifino and now with Stacks, and I'm going to talk about Tony D'Angelo later, but we'll get there. But yeah, it's an overarching theme tonight. Then the next match was also incredibly great. It was Tavion Heights versus Charlie Dempsey. Tavion Heights picks up the victory and he's finally free from the NQCC. And while I'm extremely happy about this, I've been asking for a solo run for Tavion Heights for so long, I do have a few worries. Because what happens with the NQCC now is the better question. Because I don't see how they go forward just as Charlie Dempsey and Ren Sinclair. And if they split up, no offense to Ren Sinclair, but I can't see her necessarily succeeding as a singles wrestler. She's great, I love her, but I feel like she's gonna get lost in the crowd pretty easily. And this whole dynamic she's had with the NQCC is really what showcased her. So I'm curious what's gonna happen there, and I wouldn't mind if the NQCC adds new members, looks revitalized. I think Charlie Dempsey could act really well as a leader for something like that. I'm just wondering what happens now. We also have a segment where Blake Monroe comes down to the ring. She corrects Booker T on a mistake he made last week, and Booker T is absolutely smitten with her. Before she can really keep going, Lola Vice comes out saying that she can't understand how Blake Monroe is so beautiful on the outside but so ugly on the inside, and that just makes everybody else come out. Jada Parker comes out, tries to throw her digs in. Kalani Jordan comes out, Will Jordan Grace's music. Weird, but okay, that happened. And you know, this all breaks into a big ass brawl where Lola Vice and Kalani Jordan stand tall with Jada Parker and Blake Monroe on the outside. This is also announced for a match next week between Kalani Jordan and Blake Monroe. Oh my god, why is Kalani Jordan always being put into positions to lose? I hate that, but okay, nothing I can do about that. Kalani Jordan's gonna lose next week. I like this segment, it was pretty cool, it was pretty fun, showed some character work. My only issue is I don't see really what we get out of this. You could have said a Kalani Jordan and Blake Monroe matchup just by themselves. I don't see the necessity for this whole thing because Jada Parker is involved with the Women's World Championship. You already have Blake Monroe is involved with Jordan Grace. So you could have just set up a match between Kalani Jordan and Blake Monroe. I don't see the need to add Lola Vice in here. I don't see the need to bring Jada Parker in here. So I don't really get it, but overall it was a really fun segment, and I like seeing Lola Vice get some screen time because she never gets screen time on NXT anymore. And then in the main event, Ethan Page retains his championship against Santino Marella. A really solid match, but I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't really care. Like, Santino is cool, but he's not someone I'm necessarily nostalgic about, and it's not really a match that I thought Santino could win at all. And besides that, I really wasn't invested in what we were doing here, so it wasn't a particularly match I was excited about or too invested in or really paid attention to. But Ethan Page retains, which was obvious. I mean, he got a new strap last week. Yeah, whatever. Ethan Page wins, okay? That's what you're getting from me for this segment. Let's talk about what I mentioned with Tony D'Angelo later. Like I said with the whole family isn't for everything, he's sitting in his own little area. He's handed something by someone who calls him Don, but he says he's not the Don anymore. They can just call him Tony. And then he looks off screen to someone, and then it cuts out, so we don't see who he looks at. And to me, I feel like that's going to be Joe Henry, because all throughout the night they played snippets of Joe Henry over the screen, didn't acknowledge it at all, just random intervals, and they didn't show him on the show. So it would only make sense if that is Joe Henry. Besides that, I don't really see what else it could be. It's probably going to be really obvious when that happens next week, and I'm just brain dead right now. But if that's Joe Henry, I'm really curious to see what that's about. Is it finally time Joe Henry comes over to NXT? And how the hell does he fit into something with Tony D'Angelo? It doesn't make sense which is kind of why I hope it isn't, because I would like to see a story put out that way. So if I had to give tonight's episode of NXT a rating, I would say tonight was a solid 7.5 out of 10. Right, a pretty good episode. No, not 7.5. I'm not gonna do half, so I'm gonna say 7 out of 10. Pretty good episode, really nice stuff. But a lot of things I just didn't feel didn't matter. This was literally the definition of a filler episode. Like, I enjoyed it, the stuff was great, but for the most part, you know, you're gonna skip this week's episode, catch up next week, and you're not gonna really have missed a whole ton of shit. So that's what I think of tonight's episode. Good, but easily missable. So yeah, 7 sounds right. Maybe a 6, but I'm gonna say 7. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, bye.